You're not going to believe how this one slipped away. What happened in this game defies logic, history, and common football sense. It was the kind of collapse that leaves fans speechless, scratching their heads, and wondering if they just witnessed the most improbable loss in decades. On paper, this should have been a win, no turnovers, dominant defense, and total yardage that should have sealed the deal. But somehow, someway, this team found a way to lose. And the deeper you dig into the details, the worse it gets. Let's break down exactly how it all unraveled. But first, click the like button and subscribe to stay well informed. The streak is over. Since 1950, NFL teams were 225-0 when they held their opponent to 175 yards or fewer and committed 0 turnovers. The Cleveland Browns just made that 225-1. Let that sink in. Against the New York Jets, yes, the 1-7 Jets, Cleveland managed to defy 73 years of football logic and lose a game that, statistically, was unwinnable for the other side. It's the kind of loss that doesn't just sting, it demands an autopsy. And if you've seen the tape, you know what's coming. Let's talk about Dillon Gabriel. He threw 2 touchdowns in the first half. That's the good news. But beyond that, his performance was shaky at best and disastrous at worst. From short passes inexplicably spiked into the dirt with no pressure, to wide-open screen plays to Malachi Corley that ended up sailing over his head, Gabriel looked overwhelmed, inaccurate, and totally out of sync. 4th and 1, down a touchdown. You've got Judkins running well all game, but instead of leading on the run, Tommy Rees calls a pass play. Fine, let's see what Gabriel does. Pocket is clean. 3 receivers are open. You've got options, Nuka deep, Judkins in the flat, even Judy getting free. What does Gabriel do? He takes a sack. On 4th and 1. Turns it over on downs. That's not just bad, it's inexcusable. And the numbers don't lie. Gabriel now ranks 37th out of 37 qualified quarterbacks in PFF grade, sitting at 49.9. That's dead last. His completion percentage? Just 58.6%, and his yards per attempt is a paltry 5. Add to that 10 turnover-worthy plays this season, and you start to understand why fans are calling for a change. It's becoming painfully obvious Dillon Gabriel is not the answer. We don't have time to wait for him to develop. The defense is still elite. This roster, especially on that side of the ball, won't be together for more than 2 or 3 years. If the Browns want to capitalize on that window, they need a quarterback who's ready now, not someone still trying to figure it out on Sundays. Even worse, the Jets didn't beat us with offense. Take away Breece Hall's 42-yard screen touchdown, a play that should have been called back for a blatant hold on Carson Switzer, whose face mask was literally ripped off, and Justin Fields' passing stats dropped to 12 yards and 1 interception. He finished 6 of 11 with a quarterback rating of 60.4. And still, they put up 27 points. How? Special teams. That's how. The Jets scored their first 2 touchdowns on a kickoff return and a punt return, both within the first quarter. That's 14 points on back-to-back special teams plays. And just like that, the Browns were down and playing catch-up. This wasn't just a breakdown, it was the worst special teams performance I've ever seen. And it didn't stop there. Down a touchdown with under 2 minutes left, the Browns defense had the Jets in a 3rd and 16 situation. Denzel Ward gets a sack. Great! Except, wait, flag on the play. Devin Bush called for defensive holding. Automatic first down. Okay, fine. Still time left. Browns force a 4th and 5. Everyone knows the Jets are trying to draw them off sides. The stadium knows. The fans know. Heck, even Kevin Stefanski knows. It's why he's already taken off his headset. But not Cameron Thomas. He jumps. Neutral zone infraction. First down. Game over. Penalties. 10 of them for 78 yards. Offense, defense, special teams, you name it. Good runs called back, 3rd downs erased, drives killed. All of it added up to a historic embarrassment. Off the bye week. Off the bye. What exactly did the coaching staff work on during that extra time? Because what we saw on the field was undisciplined, unprepared, and uninspired. And with all that chaos, we still had 2 chances in the final 2 minutes to get the ball back and tie the game. 2 chances, wiped out by 2 defensive penalties. That's coaching. That's discipline. That's focus. Or, in this case, the lack of it. Which brings us to special teams coordinator Bubba Ventron. At this point, you've got to ask, did that game cost him his job? Kickoff return touchdown. Punt return touchdown. Undisciplined coverage. A complete collapse in a phase of the game that's been sliding all season. Is it time to clean house? So here's the question for Browns fans. Should Dillon Gabriel be benched? Is it time to hand the keys to Shador Sanders and see what he can do? Do we fire Bubba Ventron and start fresh with special teams? Type Y for yes and for no. Let me know in the comments what you think about this entire situation. Because if we're being honest, how much worse could it get? Dillon Gabriel has shown flashes, sure, but they're more like flickers. What we're seeing week after week is a quarterback who looks nervous in the pocket, inaccurate with simple throws, and hesitant in crucial moments. And this is happening with weapons around him. You've got Malachi Corley, a legitimate yards after catch threat. You've got Judkins, who's been running strong behind an offensive line that, while not perfect, has given him lanes. You've got a reliable check-down option, and still, Gabriel's not pulling the trigger. Or worse, he's pulling it into the dirt. It's not just the missed throws, it's the decision-making. When you're down by a touchdown and you're facing a 4th and 1, taking a sack is football malpractice. You cannot, under any circumstance, leave that play without at least attempting a throw, especially when the play design worked and multiple receivers were open. He had time. He had options. He had no excuse. This is why fans are starting to chant for Shador Sanders. And let's be clear, we're not talking about handing over the reins to a guy who's totally untested. Shador is more than just Deion's kid. He's a baller with poise, presence, and a deep ball that could instantly open up this offense. Imagine the kind of pressure that could be taken off the run game if defenses had to respect the vertical threat. Imagine Malachi Corley actually getting the ball in stride on those screen passes. We're not talking about a miracle turnaround, but we're talking about a spark. And right now, Cleveland needs one. Let's not ignore how the play calling was starting to stretch the field a bit more. Tommy Rees tried to get creative. We saw some shots downfield, we saw attempts to open things up, but the guy delivering the ball just didn't have it. You can't draw up a perfect play and have it wasted because your quarterback is bouncing throws to wide-open receivers. That kills momentum. That kills drives. That kills games. And then there's the defense. It's easy to point fingers elsewhere, but let's give some credit where it's due. This unit kept Justin Fields to 12 passing yards. Yes, 12, if you subtract the 42-yard screen pass that shouldn't have even counted due to the missed face mask penalty on Carson Switzer. Denzel Ward is still making plays. The pass rush is still a force. The defense is championship caliber. And yet, they're getting no help, not from the offense, and certainly not from special teams. Which brings us right back to the disaster that was Bubba Ventron's unit. 2 touchdowns on returns. 2! That's not just a bad day, that's catastrophic. That's a fireable offense. How does a team come off a bye and give up 14 points on special teams before the offense even finds its rhythm? That's preparation. That's attention to detail. That's coaching. And Bubba didn't deliver. Let's also talk about the ripple effect of those special teams gaffes. It changes everything. Suddenly, the offense is playing from behind. The playbook becomes more aggressive. Mistakes become more costly. It's not just about the points on the board, it's about how those points alter the entire flow of the game. And it wasn't just the touchdowns, there was the neutral zone infraction on 4th down, the defensive holding on 3rd and 16. Those moments sealed our fate. You could see it on Stefanski's face. He ripped off his headset in disbelief after that final penalty. He knew it. The game was over, and the worst part is, it didn't have to be. We had 2 chances to get the ball back. 2. And both were erased by boneheaded penalties. That's discipline. That's accountability. And that's a coaching issue. This kind of loss can break a team. It can fracture a locker room. But it can also serve as a wake-up call. The fans see it. The players feel it. The coaches have to own it. There are no more moral victories. There's no more we'll get him next week. The Browns are in win-now mode. The clock is ticking on this defensive core. The offensive talent is there. And the only question left is, do the Browns have the guts to make the hard decisions? Do they bench Dillon Gabriel and give Shador Sanders the shot fans are begging for? Do they pull the plug on Bubba Vetron and finally take special teams seriously? Do they shake up the coaching staff before this season spirals further out of control? This team has too much talent to be losing to the 1-7 Jets. Too much pride to let this kind of performance slide. Browns fans have been through everything, and they know a turning point when they see one. This is it. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Should the Browns bench Dillon Gabriel and go with Shador Sanders? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click on the next video right here on the screen. You want Browns news the second it happens? This is the place. The latest, the rawest, the realest, only right here. Go Browns!